It was late evening in a quiet Canadian diner, the kind that always smelled of fresh coffee and pancakes even after midnight. Daniel, a single dad in his 30s, sat at a corner booth with his 7-year-old daughter, Emma. He worked long hours as a mechanic, but tonight he had promised his daughter a treat, just the two of them sharing dinner after a tough week. As Emma scribbled on her coloring book, Daniel's eyes wandered to the young waitress approaching their table. Her smile was polite, but her red, swollen eyes told another story. She was clearly trying to hide the fact that she had been crying. When she placed their order, Daniel caught her hand trembling slightly as she set the glasses down. He noticed how she quickly brushed away a tear when she thought no one was looking. Daniel didn't want to intrude, but something inside him, a quiet tug of empathy, wouldn't let him ignore it. Life had taught him that sometimes the smallest act of kindness could mean everything. He remembered how people looked away from him years ago when he was left to raise Emma alone after his wife walked out. He knew the feeling of drowning silently, pretending to be fine while falling apart inside. Emma was the first to speak. With her innocent voice, she asked, "Are you sad?" The waitress froze, her face flushing. She forced a small laugh, saying she was just tired. But Daniel saw the truth behind her eyes. After serving their food, she retreated to the counter, her shoulders slumping like the weight of the world pressed down on her. Daniel couldn't shake the thought. When she returned to check on their table, he gently said, "You don't have to pretend with me. I can see you're going through something. If you need someone to talk to, I'm here." His voice carried no judgment, only warmth. For a moment, she hesitated, as if debating whether to stay strong or finally let the walls down. Then, to her own surprise, she pulled up a chair. Her name was Lily, and she admitted she was a single mom too, but unlike Daniel, she didn't have family support. She had been working double shifts just to keep food on the table, and earlier that day she received notice that her rent was overdue. Her fear of losing the roof over her little boy's head had broken her spirit. Daniel listened without interrupting, his steady gaze reassuring her that he understood. "I know it feels impossible right now," he said softly. "But you're not alone, even when it feels that way. I've been there, and I made it through, step by step. You will too." Emma reached across the table, offering Lily one of her crayon drawings. It was a messy picture of a sun and two stick figures holding hands, but it made Lily smile through her tears. For the first time all day, she felt seen. Not as a waitress, not as someone struggling, but as a human being who mattered. When Daniel and Emma left the diner, he slipped a folded note under the receipt. Inside was a small amount of cash, enough for groceries, and his phone number with the words, "For when you need a friend who understands." Lily found it minutes later, her tears returning, but this time they weren't from pain. They were from relief. She held the note close, whispering a quiet thank you to no one in particular. That night, Daniel and Emma drove home under the glowing city lights. Emma leaned her head against her father's shoulder and said, "Dad, you helped her, didn't you?" Daniel smiled, tightening his grip on the steering wheel. "Sometimes, sweetheart, all someone needs is to know they're not invisible." And somewhere in that small Canadian town, a tired waitress sat at a counter, feeling less alone because a stranger had offered her not pity, but his shoulder. The world hadn't changed completely, but for her, kindness had given her the strength to keep going. The story leaves us with a reminder. No matter how busy we are, no matter how heavy our own burdens, noticing someone else's pain and reaching out can be the spark of hope they desperately need. A shoulder offered in compassion can change a life. Do you want me to adjust this story so it fits exactly into a 4-minute spoken YouTube script, with natural pacing and dialogue?